Say something, I'm
Xerri,
giving
Murdoch
up.
hitting it with pace and burst.
I'll be the one if you want me to.
Hello everybody, Big Seven here, back for another SuperCoach video, and unfortunately have to start on a bit of a somber note. All of these injuries, man, just absolutely ridiculous. I've copped Christian Petracca, Milan Murdoch traded him in last week, and man, he is a king. But unfortunately, another victim to a hamstring injury, and like people were saying, oh, you shouldn't go for rookies before they're on the bubble. I mean, what are you supposed to do? You're supposed to make 10 trade or 5 to 6 trade-ins in round 3. You can't do it. Sometimes you got to go early. So, yeah, there's people victory lapping that. I've seen a bit of that on Twitter. So it's just like, yeah, bozos. Anyway, and then Connor Rozee, I managed to avoid him, not because of his injury history, but just because I didn't think he was going to be top 6 defender in a midfield role, and from I didn't see all of the Port game, but from what I saw, like he had 20 touches for a 50-odd score, so just not as effective in the midfield role. So I will take a victory on that, but I can't victory lap it because I basically bet on him being bad from output, not being bad from injury, and it's just, I mean, for owners, it's just very unlucky for, especially if you've got Petracca and Murdoch. It's just very unlucky for people to cop all this carnage in round 2 going into round 3, because round 3 is probably the most important week of the year. It's the last week of making changes to your team before massive price rises and price changes happen. So this will be quite a long video. I guess the agenda for the video, I'll try and be structured, but I probably won't be. I'll start off by looking at my team, going through that relatively quickly, rookie trade-ins and trade-outs. Then I'll go through my kind of long-term premium targets and who I think are locks in terms of premiums in each line, and who are basically the ones that I need to and you need to take a stance on and plant your flag and have a stance on. Then I'll go through premiums and mid-price trade outs and trade ins. I'll talk about Christian Petracca. Is there a case to hold him for his entire injury? It could be an option. I'll also talk about boost strategy because I think a lot of people will need to boost this week. I will definitely be considering doing that. I'll also talk about the pros and cons of having 3 pure ruckmen. So basically having a ruck in the flex. That's something I've definitely been weighing up this week, starting off with the 2 premium rucks. And then finally, I'll go through my trade plans for the week. So starting with my team, 18-17 for the week was enough to go up about 20,000, so 30,000 ranks, that is. Still sitting around 52K. I'd rather be sitting at this rank with a great team rather than top 100 with a bad team. Still so much of the season to play out. So much carnage has happened already. And I don't think I've got a great team. I think I've got a 5 or a 6 out of 10 team. Can make some moves to improve that this week. So managed to get off the bottom of the group as well. I think one person joined, so but also went up a few spots in that. 43 out of 50. Some sharp coaches in here. I think I saw. I had a quick look, but I think Deja Vu, I think that's Novak's, got a very solid team from the looks of it, already in the top couple of hundred. So hope you go well. And the head-to-head league lost to the Higginator. So yeah, I mean, I'm not too fussed about head-to-head league, playing for overall, but it's always good to have bragging rights as well. So into the team, the trades I ended up making. So I planned on doing Coleman to Coleman to Grill was the plan. And the other trade, which I did make, the trade I did make was Gordon to Milan Murdoch. I said I was going to do that, and I ended up following through with that. And I said I was going to do Coleman to Grill, ended up keeping Coleman because Gibcus got omitted after one game. I thought coming back from the like injury from last year, there was a lot of positive PR about him this year. I thought he'd get an extended go at it. Unfortunately, that wasn't the case. It was always a bit of a risk. Vlosten was coming back into the side. Tom Brown's not a bad player either. So maybe it was a little bit foreseeable. I traded Gibcus out because I think the best thing for him would be to have like an extended run in the VFL, I guess. But now Broad's out for a week, so maybe Gibcus, there could be a path for him to come back instantly. Lindsay also dropped, which that's just the only way I can describe that is clownish behaviour from McQualter. How are you playing a rookie in round one, a high draft pick, and then dropping him after one game? Like, really? Like that's not how you develop players. I just he's been a SuperCoach terrorist, and maybe results are like speak louder than anything because they got the win over North, but I know also 40 points down against North very early on. So I don't know. I don't rate McQualter as a coach. But yeah, I'm hoping Lindsay gets a chance again soon, but he might not. He's a potential trade out for me this week. The players I do have, Sinclair, don't need to speak about him. He's just going to be very solid, locked in top 6 defender. Whitfield a little bit scary, only 96, which takes his average down to 90 for the year. Is he actually a top 6 defender this year, or has age regression caught up to him along with Ash being like the clear distributor out of halfback? GWS did support 210 defenders last year, so I'll be holding Whitfield, but I wish I had started Ash instead of him. We'll put it like that. Blackiston, yeah, it's a bad pick. Would like to get out of him as soon as possible. Plays Sherry this week, but Flynn also went 90 against Sherry. I mean, saying that, Sherry went almost 200 against Flynn. So Sherry will be a scary non-own if you decide to go down that path. But yeah, Blackiston, geez, I'd like to get rid of him. Wish he was a different starting pick. Jake's, he's just ticking along. Sarong hopefully keeps his spot, but we'll see after this week because he's on the bye this week. Lindsay hopefully gets the recall this week. Harry Edwards, I think, will probably miss with concussion, but he's more of a tall defender anyway. I'm not sure if Sandy Brock's fit or not, but if he is, then I think that would be a logical replacement rather than going smaller with Lindsay, but we'll see about that. Coleman, we'll see if he's named this week. He's another one I'd like to get out of, but if he does play, like the break even's low enough, it's 25, so hopefully he's able to get that. Drill, maybe he shouldn't have gone early on. I only scored the 43. I really liked what I saw of him against Carlton, though. Looks to be a player, and I guess with rookies, there's always going to be ups and downs. So, kind of wish I didn't have him at the elevated price, or I wish I didn't trade him in at the elevated price, but he should be fine to own. Captain Zach Butters, 135, down round one, but rebounded nicely last week. Looks back to his best. Windhager played in defence, but only scored 86. Hoping he's a borderline defence keeper. Parrish only 67. Someone I've just realised what he scored. So if there are any kids watching this video, do your fucking hands or whatever. I'm a boomer, so I won't be doing that shit. But yeah, Parrish, hoping for more at that price point. Essendon did get belted, but hopefully better things to come. Better matchup this week against North Melbourne. Lindsay looks like he's going to be a 70s player unless the role expands, but it's just going to be a slow burn to around 350k, I think. Another one that I would rather have started without, but at this point, not an urgent trade out. Dersma looks pretty good, 88, and it was against North. It isn't the prime role either. It's on a wing. I think there'll be ups and downs, but definitely one I'm happy to own at relatively low ownership, considering he's a rookie. Sharp injured, and the role isn't great. He's one to trade out unless you want to use him for a loop this week. Watkins was, I've got to say, a pretty lucky start. It wasn't really in the plans until like the day before the game in round one, and like I saw like Twitter posts where it was like Josh Carr on SEN said that uh, he expected Watkins to play a lot of senior footy for the year, so it was kind of like, yeah, I'll restructure. I'll get Zach Ostelski out. I'll put McAndrew at R3 and try and hit some cash gen, and that looks to be good. Watkins is like one of the most traded in players this week, and it's someone that I don't have to worry about bringing in. So yeah, that's good. Bill Myers 79, averaging 75 for the year, just gonna tick along. Can't wait for him to get defense status because he will be a better field than a lot of the other defense rookies. Rux, Grundy, 135. I kind of downplays his influence, to be honest. Like he battled really manfully against Meek and Reeves. I thought he played a ripper game. I was worried about that one as a owner, coming up against the two Rux, and yeah, just he just has that fire. I can see. I don't think he even had that fire when he was at his best at Collingwood, but you just see him these days, and he's just like he's crashing marking contests. He's like running hard around the ground. It looks like he wants to be there, like at Sydney, and I think yeah, he's still my pick for number one ruck for the year. So happy to have him even with the bye. Tim English, 114, a bit underwhelming. I think he was on 80 at halftime or around then, and so the VC was looking good, and then kind of petered out in the second half. Would have expected him to get on top of McAndrew, but McAndrew's really held his own as well. He's a much improved player from what I saw in his Sydney games about 3 years ago. So good on him. And yeah, he's someone that he's just going to sit in my R3 spot. It'd be nice to have him on field, but I mean, all in all, like Blackiston dropped out of the score this week. So like if I had McAndrew on, he would have replaced Parrish. I'll lose 12 points out of that this week. Like I'm fine with that, having the extra cash generator, which in my case it was starting Watkins. So yeah, McAndrew will probably stay at R3 for the foreseeable future. I can understand wanting to field him, but I think I'm happy fielding a slightly worse rookie. And I mean, this week he's got Geelong, but he's going to be covering Grundy and English. So you think if any week he's going to have a spike score, it's this one. But we'll see how things go. Hopefully he does, and he'll be on my field this week. Harry Sheasel had a ton of possessions, but when the game was on the line, West Coast kind of ran over the top of them. And yeah, Sheasel had a few kind of bad clangers and stuff like that. So 124, and he's still averaging 129. Is the clear F1 now that Petracca has gone down. He's 86, I think, halfway through the third quarter. And yeah, I mean, Petracca, he was in like Brownlow form. I think he was favourite for the Brownlow before he had the hamstring injury. Looks like it's going to be 4 to 6. So I'll go through some options for him later. But you could even hold him for a week. But yeah, I'll go through some options for him a bit later. Would like to hold him, but 4 to 6 probably just makes it a bit untenable for mine. Flanders only 81. I was expecting bigger out of him in that midfield role. He averaged like 110 midfielder for Gold Coast in 23 and 24. Average more playing in defense, but yeah, just the ball use isn't great out of Flanders, and like I think his disposal numbers are probably a bit down from what they were in his Gold Coast days. Although it probably makes sense. I'm kind of the opinion that midfields lift themselves, like lift each other up. So like um, Gold Coast, for example, Rowell and Anderson like would have lifted Flanders scoring up, whereas now Flanders kind of like the number one midfielder in there with like Hugo Garcia and like sometimes Nas and sometimes Filippo. It's just it's a downgrade, and more broadly, that's why I'm happy to pick like multiple midfielders from the same side. We've seen how good Dogs midfielders have been over the years, so yeah, maybe Flanders is a bit of a victim of that, but also like his ball use and accumulation hasn't been as good as it has been in the past. Joshua Shelley, this is such a frustrating pick because the DT is fine, the role is fine. Like through the first three quarters for the Adelaide Dogs game, he had 50% CBAs, but he was the worst player on ground. It just the lights were too bright for him. I think he might be better served in like a 20 to 30% CBA role and like a high half forward. Playing half forward last year, he averaged 80. So I'm going to hold him. The DT numbers are still great. It's just the efficiency is absolute killer at the moment. And he gave 5 free kicks away as well. So I'm holding, especially with the state of the forward line. But he's just very frustrating at the moment. Yeah, 370k and he doesn't even crack my best 18. So yeah, not great, but there's a chance that he turns things around. Todd Marshall on field 73 was good. Devon Robertson, he could even be a forward keeper with the way things are going, but I'll go through all of the forwards a bit later on. Filippo, yeah, pretty underwhelming. 42, coming off a cork last week. There's still scope for him to improve. Like the talent is clearly there, but yeah, just disappointing at the moment. Lombard 20, wow, that pretty shocking considering it was up against Richmond. I thought he was a baller, and maybe not. If we didn't have all this carnage, like he could potentially have been a trade out. So yeah, Leo hopefully can find some big scores in him soon. And then yeah, Milan, just he's played 2 games, but like he's already like one of my favorite players. Just the way he like attacks contests and that clearance I put in the intro, it's just you don't see players do that these days, and it's just I don't know, kind of like an old school player, but has tenacity and heart. It looks like it's going to be 2 or 3 weeks for the injury, so he's a pretty clear hold for mine. Next up, I'll go through some rookie trade-ins and trade-outs. So I'll look at some break-evens. We'll go below like 220. And yeah, Milan, he would have been must-have. Unfortunately, with the injury, you wouldn't be trading him in this week if you don't already have him. But I'm not trading him out. And as soon as he comes back, you're going to want him in. So I would rather hold him. It's 2 or 3 weeks, and what are you going to do with the 99k? Like just sideways to another rookie? Like he's just a pretty clear hold for me. Dev must have if you don't have him. Likewise with Jagger, although the whole competition has him. Likewise, McAndrew must have. Myers must have. Todd Marshall must have. Braden Cook, I'm a little bit unsure about. Like I showed his stats last week, it was pretty like his 2024 season was pretty up and down. I think he averaged like around about 52. If you exclude like the sub games, and this year, like he played out of his skin against the Pies. Like he scored 92 against Collingwood, and then last week wasn't really a factor in the game until the last quarter. I think he was on about 30 at 3/4 time. So I'm a little bit unsure about this one, especially at the elevated price point. That being said, though, if you're looking to redistribute Petracca's money and go down to a rookie forward, he's probably the one. Like if you don't already have Marshall or Marshall or Robertson, if you've got those two, then I think Braden Cook's probably the next best, but I also wouldn't be surprised if he just like goes 50 for his next couple of matches and like kind of tops out at 250k. So I probably like if you were kind of choosing to go like Petracca to a premium forward, then I don't think Braden Cook is a must, but I might just be overreacting to the like relatively bad game last week. Like he did play out of his skin against the Pies, but yeah, just one I'm a little bit unsure about. But hopefully can do like a 60 and make like 140 odd K and even push beyond that. Roger's not really interested at the high price, and he's got a buy as well, so not this week. Watkins and Dersma, I would much prefer Watkins over Dersma just because of the price point. Watkins at 99k, like he pretty much just needs to like average 50 to make 150k, and there's a chance he gets a more expanded role as well. Didn't have a lot of CBAs until like the second half, which is when Rozee got injured, and Rosee's going to be out for like 12 weeks. So they've got Wines to return back into the side. And yeah, there's a chance that Watkins can do like 60 in a CBA role. But even if he plays as like a forward, like I expect him to hold his spot. And if he does play as like a forward, maybe averages like 50 and should still make 150k. So I would like to get, if you didn't have Watkins, I think I wouldn't say a must trade in, but he's definitely a priority. I would definitely want to have him. Willem Desmo looks good. The high price point and the nature of like the wing, or like I think it's wing and played like a little bit half forward. In the first game, he got a few CDAs and junk time, but I think it's mostly going to be wing. I think you can fade it, but I'm obviously very happy to have him at this point. Zakostelski, he was one I was looking at getting in, but yeah, just not sure about the job security. He might not even be named this week, but if you had him like, and he does get named, you wouldn't be trading him out, that's for sure. But I'm not sure if he would be someone I would trade into either with the other options. Bo, bleh, Bo Allen, actually like didn't look like much of a footballer last year. Infamously went -12 in preseason, but from what I've seen of him, actually looks a lot better this year. And some players just take a bit longer to develop. 150k, -41 break even. I don't mind the pick if you want to go there. I think Jake's has already had a price rise. Chase Jones, we'll see what happens with him. He's not on the bubble this week, so don't go for him. Kondogiannis, if he's named, probably only has one or two price rises in him because I think Ridley's only like 1 or 2 weeks away. So I haven't looked at Essendon's injury report, but I think he was like a similar time frame last week. So maybe, yeah, I don't think I would endorse Kondogiannis unless like Ridley somehow has a setback this week, which is possible because it's Ridley. But at this stage, Kondogiannis Antetokounmpo is off the list. Christopher Xerri, not to be confused with Tristan Xerri, -34 break even, but again, only played one game. Wait until he's on the bubble and see if he holds his spot because competition for Freo's spots is pretty fierce at the moment. That being said, I did like what I saw out of Xerri on the weekend. Goddard would have been nice to have him -33 break even, 168k. Could potentially go for him over Cook. Just he's already had a price rise though, and with a bye next week, kind of not that keen on him. Sharp is a no. Small forward, bad team. Wouldn't bother with that. Duff Tytler, pleasantly surprising. Scored 100 against North, but I wouldn't be like I called him a trap at the start of the year, but yeah, he's been pleasantly surprising. That being said, I still wouldn't trade him in. Like that 100 just looks like a spike score. Still going to be playing mostly forward in a bad side, although like if somehow Flynn got dropped and like Duff Tytler was the only rock, then maybe I would endorse it. But I think yeah, he's going to be scoring a lot in the 40s and 50s range, and like yeah, 248s, he makes 60k, and like you want to trade him out after that. So it's a no. It does show promising signs for the future, but not as a super coach pick this year. Grill probably wouldn't be trading into him at the elevated price rise. At the elevated price, hasn't risen in price yet. But yeah, I'm holding him. Like, definitely not trading him out. Showed enough on debut to like show he's a good player, but yeah, the draft profile did say accumulation was a weakness, so there is that. Would prefer to have someone else over him, but he should be fine. Lafau, wait until next week. I think I did consider, like, if you really didn't like Cook, then you could go Lafau instead. Because yeah, Lafau's got job security with the Tom Lynch injury, and uh, yeah, he's got job security, but not convinced about his scoring either, unless he like somehow plays rock, which is possible with Nankervis's injury, but yeah, it's probably like only pinch hitting rock at the unless we hear otherwise. So I'm waiting a week for him, and then I'll assess after that. Lindsay would like to trade out of. I'm not sure if he's actually going to get his position back or not. I mean, Bo Allen, it kind of seems like it's between him and Bo Allen, and Bo Allen's actually playing all right. So maybe I think I would like to trade out of him, but it kind of depends how many other issues you have. Carroll holding till he gets dropped. I'm not fussed fading him though. Only 44 on the weekend. Doveston, you probably just hold, and I think he's going to be a bit like kind of Kako was last year, kind of a slow burn to 200, and then might do some stuff in the second half of the year. But yeah, it's hard to get excited about a small forward in a what I think will be a bottom 4 or bottom 6 side. Ryan Steele, better IRL player than Supercoach player, but yeah, if you somehow have him, he's a hold. Sarong hold. Selwood's hold. Gibkiss, I think he can be traded, but he might be named this week with the broad 1 week injury. So see what happens there. If he doesn't get named this week, then it's definitely a trade. And then, yeah, I think most of the others are just going to be like fairly low owned. Lombard, I'll hold, but I mean, if you were really in a great spot this week, you could trade him out. But I don't think there's many good alternatives. So I think he is a hold as well. All right, so rookies are done. Next, I'm going to go and look at my master spreadsheet. So apologies for those that just got a bit of a shock going from dark to light mode. But essentially, this is the players I have as locks, as in like I've got players sorted by locks and like potential. Locks are players that, unless they get injured, I think you have to have them in your finish side. And then potential is players that I think you can pick your own poison and like, yeah, go your own way. And they're kind of like the fillers to the side. So the pass mark and defenders, I want players that average 105, midfielders 115 plus. Rucks, I think 125 plus is reasonable. And then forwards 95, might even be 90 this year, just with the way they're going. So defense, Ash, Sinclair, Nass, I think they all do 105 plus very easily. Whitfield probably does, but just a little bit concerned about him with his start to the season. He could be someone that the eventual winner of the competition just completely fades for the year. Houston, I'm bullish on, could do 105. Clark did 105 last year. Worrell did like 99 post-buy last year, and they started the season well. So pretty keen on him. Rozee injured, but could come back and like be a late trade-in. Bailey Dale started the year really slowly, but he's definitely one I'm looking at as a target. yeah, he's been pretty visibly injured. I think the week off this week will help him out. So he could be like 450K in 3 weeks and like the most popular trade in. I wouldn't be surprised if that happened. But yeah, he's definitely someone I'm looking to target at value later on. Blakey, probably not as keen on as other people, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Lizard somehow finds a 105 average this year. McKercher, we've seen him do it in the role. I think he did like 100 and a halfback role last year, or like 102 or something like that. And third year in the system, just needs to see him get back to his best, which I'm sure will happen. Had a interrupted preseason and played the first game like forward and wing on like limited game time. This week he was back mostly in defense, but still like only 70% time on ground. So he's definitely one I'm looking out for potential trading in a few weeks. And then kind of your more periphery guys. Zorko, I'm not picking a 37-year-old with a history of hamstring injuries with the way players are going down this year. But I don't know, maybe it's picked, but there's no way I'm going there. Sicily, I think, yeah, he's got potential as well. Noble could, Windhager could. I should also add Stewart there. He's someone that could go 105. Yeah, I mean, the way I see it is Ash Sinclair and Nass. And then, I mean, I've got Windhager, who I'm not sure about as long-term option. He'll be a buy flip, but I would be happy with, at this stage, probably Whitfield. Houston, I'm pretty bullish on. Worrell, I'm bullish on, but is in a bit of doubt with the calf injury. So we'll see if he gets up for the Cats game off a 6-day break and also needing to travel. But he started the season really well and he's in the right age bracket. Jordan Clark, I think, yeah, he can do 105 as well. So it's probably like the top 7 in there that I'm looking at, and then like maybe a Dale or maybe a McKercher if they get cheap enough. Midfielders, Bont, Butters, Dacos, they're just 3 locks. Yes, I didn't start the Bont, and yes, I said he was a trap, but I still wouldn't be trading in Bontempelli at 700. I think it will come down to like 620 or 630 at some point before the buys. So, yeah, just because they're locks doesn't mean you have to have them in your side right now. It's kind of balancing, like trying to get the locks at a value price, and then trying to get your guys that either you feel strongly about in the potential range, either getting them early or the ones you're a bit more iffy on, trying to get them at like a cheaper price. So yeah, Bont, Butters, Dacos, they're all locks in my eyes. And then there's a lot of potential midfielders you can go for. Holmes, Callahan, McCluggage. McCluggage in particular is going to be a little bit cheaper after I think it was like a 16 in round 0. So he'll play a couple of games and have one hefty price drop, and then might be right for the picking, might even come back a bit slowly and be available cheaper. So got my eye on the clog. Ed Richards, Brayshaw, Dawson, Anderson, Rao once he comes back, Heaney, Bailey Smith, Neil, Dunkley, Walsh, all guys that could push top 8. I think Sarong and Merritt I can see a case for, but they're not players that I'm going to go for. But yeah, I mean, it kind of goes into long-term strategy. It's kind of the reason I like to go a midfield light structure, because there's so many players that, particularly in midfield, that I feel pretty strongly about pretty much everyone down to Walsh as like a potential top 8 midfielder. Maybe Walsh is a little bit iffy, but I mean that's 13 players and like 3 locks. You got 5 spots for them. And defenders, I would go down to probably Worrell, and then so it's probably 7 Dale and McKercher. So it's like 9 into 6 is a lot easier rather than how many did I say for midfield? Yeah, 16 into 8 positions essentially, or 13 potentials into like 5 spots. So midfielders, I'm happy to wait on and pick up one of these guys once they bottom out. Rucks, there could be a little bit of bias there, but Grundy is my guy at number 1. I still have, he just looks the part, and I don't think last year was an aberration. I think he can continue with that, and also like a little bit of value built in from last year with I think it was PCL that he carried through the first couple of rounds. So yeah, Grundy, he's my guy this year. Xerri looks like he's on a tear though. I was concerned about how the new ruck rules would impact him and the rucks as a whole, but I wasn't concerned as a lot of other people were. I did end up starting the 2 premium rucks, so maybe I'll talk about the 3 premium rucks now actually. But yeah, I thought less repeat stoppages, game moving faster, that rucks would be a little bit negative impacted, but I haven't looked at the stats, but it seems like in the past, like players would probably get like a 20 to 25% of their hitouts would be like hitouts to advantage. I haven't done the stats, but I feel like it's probably up in like the 35 to 40% range. So, and yeah, rucks are probably getting a few less hitouts, but they're probably getting more hitouts to advantage, which is actually the scoring. It actually helps the scoring in SuperCoach. So yeah, Grundy, he is my guy. Xerri, still a little bit concerned about how he does against some of the like more mobile ruckmen, but and looking at the fixture on, he doesn't play any of those types in the near future. Like I guess Blackiston's got a bit of a leap on him, but not really. Pitternet, no. Fort, no. And then after that, it's like it's Richmond who, like, I don't know who they're going to put out at rock. It might be Samson Ryan, but you'd expect Xerri to dominate him and Briggs and whoever Geelong have as a rock. So that run is just insane. I'm not sure if Xerri does like 125 over the course of the season, but over the next 6 weeks, like he could go 140. Like it's a ridiculous run. So I wouldn't say he's a season-long lock, but I don't know. Maybe he is. Yeah, I'm not sure whether to put him in a lock or potential, but he's someone that's very firmly in my trade plans this week. Yeah, pretty much the only reason I didn't start him was because of the bad vibes, and I was kind of tossing up between Grundy. I mean, Grundy was pretty much locked in, but it was like Xerri or English, and I wish I went Xerri, but I mean, English hasn't scored too badly to start the year, but he's on bye now, so I don't think he pushes 125, but he could go like 115, 120. He does have the potential to do it though, so he's in the potential category. Jackson, I was concerned about at the start of the year what the ruck split would look like. I think last game it was like 55-45 in Darcy's favour, which is a little bit up from last year, but I think Jackson probably needs to be like 55-45 the other way. I think for Jackson to push that 120, 125 mark, but and it could easily happen. Like Sean Darcy's extremely injury prone, so and yeah, if you told me that there'd been 25 hamstring injuries in the first 2 rounds, I would have said Sean Darcy had done one of them. So yeah, Jackson, I probably still waiting for that injury, but that being said, like he plays Richmond this week, so he will be a scary non-own for sure. If you had him, I wouldn't be talking anyone out of him, but at the same time, I'm not looking to bring him in yet. And then Max Gawn, yeah, he started the season well. He has gone 125 plus in the past, but yeah, Fremantle were just kicking the ball down his throat, and yeah, the midfield cast just isn't as good as it has been in previous years. And then the 122 against St Kilda kind of salvaged that. So I reckon he probably does like 115 to 120 despite the good start to the year. And then forwards, Sheasel's a lock. Petracca is a lock, but obviously injured. Once he comes back, though, he will be required. Sam Flanders, he hasn't started the season that great. I think he's still going to be top six, or at worst, he's going to be like a begrudging F6 kind of option. Did 110 in the midfield at Gold Coast, but maybe the worst midfield supporting cast is having a bit of an impact. Also, like disposal hasn't been great and like not accumulating the same numbers he got at the Suns. So he might be someone that's kind of like a buy flip, but I think for most this is going to end up being like a begrudging F6 at worst, and maybe he can push 95 plus. So jury is still out a little bit on Flanders, but at the same time, like still content to have him in the side. Brian Myers, like high half forward, it normally isn't conducive to like that super high scoring, but I think he did about 98 or something last year, so could repeat it. Yeah, if you like him, obviously he's a trade option in this week, 110 break even. Thilthorpe, I think, could push 95 plus, as can Darcy, but both of them started like relatively slowly to the year. In particular, Darcy, like coming off he was in doubt to play opening round, so he's someone that I'm probably looking to trade him in a little bit later. Yeah, Thilthorpe, I think, started with 2 scores in the 80s, so yeah, could go for him if you're struggling him, but yeah, I'd probably another one that I'm looking to target a little bit later. And then I'm not really feeling that great about the other guys. Like Rankin, got to see what his midfield time is like, but could just be pinch hitting in there this year rather than last year, where first half of the year he got like a decent amount of midfield time before like he didn't get much in the second half of the year. So I need to see how he's being used. McInerney, I was looking at as an option, but um, yeah, he's increased in CVAs, but and it's only a limited sample. But in the past, when he has had more CVAs, he's actually scored worse. So not someone I'm heavily endorsing at this stage. Cozzy Pickett midfield time isn't as good as it was last year. Stephen King putting a lot of blokes through midfield, so Pickett will suffer. Dylan Moore picked him last year. Another one of those high half forward blokes. I don't think he's averaged over 95. He could push it this year, but um, yeah, probably someone I'm not rushing to get into. And then I really just don't feel great about anyone below that. Like Bailey, Farage is my boy, but the role isn't good enough. He scored great on the weekend, but as much as I would love to back in the talent, the role isn't good enough. Jezza, maybe. Shea Bolton, no. Like I've seen a lot of people trading him in this week, and it's just like the nature of Shea is he will score like a good score or two and then drop 20s and 30s, and it's just a no for me. Max Hall, like him as a player, but feels too early. Same with Murphy Reed. Has scored okay with the absence of Hayden Young, but he's another one that I think is value, but not pushing top six by the end of the year. Yeah, it's just too early in his career for mine. And then Rochelle, yeah, he's scoring okay DT wise, but I think the lights have been a bit too bright and maybe just not as good as I thought he was. So yeah, like I said, I'm going to be holding Rochelle, but it's hard to see him finishing as a top six forward at this point. And yeah, Premo trade outs. I think a lot of people are going to be in the same boat this year, where it's like, I say same boat this year. Petracca, rozee, like they've both got to go. Um, and generally, I'm just like hold your premium. So like if you had Brayshaw, I would say hold him. 122 last game, only going to be one price drop, so I would hold. yeah, pretty much all the premiums I'm saying to hold. It's more your mid prices that are shonky that I would be recommending getting rid of. So like Miles Bergman, he can go. Um, yeah, it's been a very underwhelming start to the year. Limited preparation though, but also doesn't look to be getting the midfield role that a few people were expecting, including myself. So no, Bailey Dale, if you somehow have him, maybe you trade him out and then trade back into him on the buy. Yeah, that's a pretty ugly starting pick. Yeah, TDK, I'd rather have a better rock. Uh, I don't think there's a way to sort by price range and ownership. Oh, there is. Yeah, who else is there? And Cozzy, you would just hold. I mean, I'm not as keen on him this year uh, with the state of the Melbourne midfield, but forward line looks like a wasteland. I didn't mention I had the defense and midfield premiums that get DPP. There's a few of them that could get it, but I wouldn't trade into them early. Juan Francis, like him as a player, came off a limited preseason and scored well against Essendon. I didn't see the first quarter and a bit of that game, so I didn't see the good part of Juan Francis. But if he doesn't get the forward status, then you just trade him in as pure midfield option. Then it's just a waste. So I would rather wait for him to get that status and trade him in rather than preemptively hope he gets it, and then he could be someone that gets more midfield time in the wake of Rosee's injury. So wouldn't be going early on him. Wouldn't be going early on Took because he's another one that I think he was borderline getting forward status, and then Petracca injury. And he's on bye this week, Took, but yeah, in the wake of the Petrarca injury, he could just play midfield and not get the DPP. And it's another one where you don't want him as a midfield only because you're shooting for 115 as your midfield price mark, your midfield pass mark. But yeah, Took, I don't think he pushes 115, but he would if he does get forward status, then he's a pretty clear top six forward. And then Chad Warner, I owned him last year, and he could get forward status even with like Heaney missing a game. I think he's back um, in round four. But yeah, could get more midfield time in the wake of Gordon's injury. But and yeah, Warner's probably another one that goes into that like potential bucket rather than a lock. Um, he has extremely. He's a bit like Shea, but has high games, has low games, but they kind of even out to like 90 to 95, whereas like Shade's highs and lows normally even out to about 80 to 85. So Warner, he could be a pick, but he's not someone I'm scrambling to get in. Was pretty underwhelming in the side last year. Um, who else is there that's high break even and yeah, 20 is probably a bit high. We'll go down to 7. And yeah, guys like Richards, I can understand that people look at the break even and are like, oh no, I got to get rid of Richards, but he might only lose like 30K, and it's not worth the sideways. Dawson 158, not worth the sideways. Hold your premiums, back them in. You pick them for a reason. And yeah, McKercher, I mentioned him. I've got my eye on him. With that being said, like if you somehow started, yeah, I guess a few people would have started, but I would just hold, like, especially with the majority of his game last week coming in defense. He's someone that I'm looking to trade in once he gets his mojo back, and that might be around like 410 or 420K. So, yeah, I would hold McKercher if you had him. And yeah, like I've said, the forwards, sorry, not the forwards, Rozee and Petrarca are going to force a lot of hands this week, and um, people missing like Watkins and Dersmers and yeah, other rookie corrections, like maybe people that are hot on Cook. Like it's just, I think the trade outs this week are going to be more those guys rather than correcting premiums, which I mean, I don't think premiums need to be corrected. I don't think there's any of those high end guys that are like, oh my god, you have to get rid of them. I think I told someone to get rid of Nas last week, and yeah, that probably wasn't the greatest in hindsight because he went 122 against GWS, but I'm also a little bit out on Nas as long as he's going to get the tags. Like I think Angwin was following him around, and like he's not a noted tagger, but I wouldn't be surprised if Nas has a good game against Brisbane and then like people bring him in round 5. I'm kind of a little bit out on him this year though. I think it's probably more like a 110 rather than like a 115, 120. So my bold prediction around Nas is that like he'll have a decent game against Brisbane, kind of like 100-ish break even. People will trade into him, and I think he'll double dip in price. I reckon we can get him like 520, 530. Maybe get him for like that West Coast game or uh, Richmond potentially. I mean, West Coast have tagged in the past though. Like, um, they could easily throw like a half for a Graham or someone like that at Nas. So yeah, I think I'll play the long game with Nas, get him in a bit later on. Um, and yeah, I kind of mentioned track as well earlier. It would be nice to hold him. That forward, these forwards fucking suck. Like, there's no other way of putting it. Like, track is clearly a top forward. If he was 2 to 3 weeks, I think I would entertain the hold, especially with like 2 rounds of best 18, and he would have been on the bye this week. But it's just 4 to 6, especially if it's on the long end of that schedule. Then if it ends up being 6 injuries, it's 4 weeks of best 22 where you essentially out a 600k player. Like I just don't think you can do it. If you wanted to hold him this week, I think that's perfectly fine, and you could even hold him next week if you just can't find a way to get him out. Like I said, like the forward options to trade in as like premium options, they fucking suck. Like I don't feel strongly about any of them really. But yeah, that being said, I'll go through my trade plans. So I had 3 trade plans. The first one was kind of what I came up with yesterday. I was fiddling around. Ain Sharp, I think, has to go. He's kind of the non-negotiable out of the 3 trade plans that I have. So yeah, Sharp is gone. I'm getting in Dan Houston. I've seen a bit of, I want to call it FUD, with the news that Howe and Darcy Moore are coming back, and people are worried about how that's going to impact Houston. Darcy Moore's not going to do shit. Like, yeah, Darcy Moore's not a distributor. He's just another cog in that defense. Like, I'm not worried about him. Howe got a few kick-ins last year, but he's fucking old. I think the game plan this year is to get the ball into Houston's hands. When he hasn't taken the kick-ins this year, whoever has taken them, whether it's been like Dacos or Quaynor or other Dacos, the majority of the time they've just chipped it to Houston in the pocket anyway. I think it's a very clear plan to get the ball in his hands. He's done premium numbers in 2023 and 2024, and I'm not overthinking it. Not at 430k with a 40 break even. That's the non-negotiable trade for me this week. I'm also going to optimize it. That and it's not great how it does the 3 emergencies in all lines because you're going to only get the lowest out of them. So that's a bad optimize feature. But anyway, Houston, yeah, he's the non-negotiable. The first plan I had was either going to be Blackerson or Coleman out, and that was going to be for, I'll call it a flag plant pick, and that was to get Josh Worrell. He started the season really well. He's someone I should have started in hindsight. It's the kind of picks that I like to make, those kind of young ascending players that have natural progression in them. He only averaged 90 last year, but in the back end of last year, he averaged 98. So him making the leap to like that 105 pass mark, I think is very logical with the natural progression that he has. So yeah, one that I wish I had started. But just with the whole issue around the calf 6-day break, I think I'm happy to wait on him for a week and just make sure he isn't playing under duress. The break even is 40, so yeah, 42. So if he does 100, makes 26K, I would be happy paying like 510 for him. But yeah, just I don't like trading into players that have had a bit of a niggle, and like 85% of the time it's fine, but it's not worth the 15% of the time when the player is actually carrying something and then either recurs it and like is out for a few weeks, or even worse, has the injury and then sorry, has the injury and then ends up playing through it, and that impacts performance and like ends up going like 15 or 20 points under what they should be averaging. Like that's actually worse than players actually getting injured and then being ruled out. So I do like Worrell as an option. I just want to wait a week and with the whole calf shenanigans. So that was the plan A. The plan B, I went through Xerri before, but I'll just do it through Shees a little bit. That fixture is just ridiculous. Like Blackiston, he should dominate. Carlton and Brisbane, a little bit harder, but don't see why you can't do 120 against them. And then he has Richmond, GWS, and Geelong. It feels like it's now or never for Xerri, and he was someone I was like keen on for most of preseason, despite the new rock rules. And um, if you go off last year, like he actually ends up being a little bit discounted because he played 3 games last year with the hamstring injury, which impacted performance. Without those games, he averaged 133. So I think for a player to burn you at that 700K price point, they need to do 140. But with that fixture run, I think Xerri can do that. So the plan is to get Xerri. The way I have to do that is it's either Blackiston, Coleman, or Lindsay out. It'll probably be it will be Lindsay if he doesn't get named. Otherwise, I'm kind of torn between Blackiston and Coleman who to get rid of. And Coleman's got a lower break even. Blackiston, yeah, he's scored 2 scores in the 60s. The run isn't great, but Flynn also just did 90 on Xerri. So I'm unsure which way I would go if I had to get rid of Blackiston or Coleman. Both of them obviously fine trade out options, but yeah, just not sure which way I would go. If Lindsay isn't named though, I will just get him out and Xerri, and that leaves me with yeah 322K to find, which would be through Petracca. Oh no, I've got to do like that. Yeah. And yeah, so that would leave me with a forward to get, and that would most likely be Cook. I don't think I want to go early on the foul. I definitely don't want to go early on Xerri. I'm not the biggest fan of Cook, but I think can make 100K at worst. Hopefully can just do at least 50, but I'm really picking him because he could do 60s from here on out, and 60 would be a great outcome, 140K, but there's a chance he only does 50. I'm not in love with the pick, but he's kind of a means to an end. The other option I did briefly consider was, yeah, rather than getting Xerri, just going Petracca to a Brian Myers. I think he is my pick of the premium forward options, and it will leave 303k in the bank. Yeah, I don't hate Myers. Like it's kind of it's paying fair price. I think 110 break even, 510k. I don't really like paying fair price unless it's a Ruckman, and yeah, just with the state of the forwards, like yeah, I think he's fine. Like he should do 95 plus. I mean, how many players in that list are going to do 95 plus? Like I'm happy enough to wait on Thilthorpe and Darcy, I think, rather than get Myers in this week. But I can see the appeal. Yeah, I think the plan for me is going to be rather than go, yeah, pay fair price for Myers, I'm going to go for Cook, I'm pretty sure, and use that money to free up Sherry. I think Sherry, it feels like a defining week with like, if you don't get him this week, I'll go and well, I'm trading out Lindsay at this stage, but yeah, it could be Blackiston, could be Coleman. Go to Sherrick's profile. The break even is 70. So if he does, I mean, 151 might be overs, but if he did 151, he's making 36k. If he does 130, he's making like 25k. So he's going to make money this week regardless, unless he drops a stinker. But against Blackiston, highly unlikely, I would think. Maybe he can drop some bad scores against Carlton and Brisbane, but maybe he doesn't. I just know that if I don't want him now, I definitely want him for Richmond, GWS, and Geelong. So rather than play Russian roulette and hope he drops a stinker against Carlton or Brisbane or like Essendon, if like he somehow gets punched in the face or something like that, I don't know. But yeah, rather than play Russian roulette, like I just like I said, the only way he can burn you is if he goes 140. But through Essendon, Carlton, Brisbane, Richmond, GWS, and Geelong, like he could do that. And yeah, these projection scores probably a bit over, but imagine if he gets to 800k, then you can start having the conversation about cutting him for like the Grundy, Wits, and yeah, Grundy, Wits, and the buy, and then Jackson. Like you can talk about cutting him at that point. Maybe he drops 100 to 150k, and you get him back in at 650, and it's kind of like a cash play as well. It's just it's a very scary antipod, and like especially because like I was pretty hot on him throughout preseason, then kind of got scared off a bit with the bad vibes and preseason. But yeah, he's just the player I want, and I'm happy to break the bank for Rux, and I think he can be punishing even at that high price point. So I can understand people that want to fade him, and it makes perfect sense to fade him as well. And the other one I kind of mentioned him, where it's like the lift doors are going to close this week, is Jackson, 97 break even, but he plays Richmond. Like, if you're keen on Jackson, like, I can see the appeal for him now. I called him a trap a couple of weeks ago, but I can see the appeal for him now. If you're keen on him, it has to be this week because Richmond have no ruck. This could be a Jackson 170, 180, and then instead of paying 611 for him, if he does like 170, he's going to make like 45k and like be at 655. And you don't want to trade him in after the good fixture, even though that's what I've just done with Sherry. But Sherry has good fixtures coming up as well. Although Jackson does have the West Coast match too in round 6. So yeah, I would just, if you can on Jackson, if you can on Sherry, I would just trade them in this week rather than watch them dominate and get FOMO in, and then you've missed one of their big scores. Like if you can on them, get them. The other kind of premium I'd considered, like yeah, Houston's lock. Worrell I considered. But yeah, just get off by the calf. Sherry and Jackson. I'm happy to wait for midfielders. Like Holmes could be okay this week, but yeah, happy to wait for midfielders. Just with the having to fit 13 guys into 5 spots, I'll just pick someone cheaper. I considered Ash this week. It does feel kind of bad having like Sinclair, Whitfield, and Ash all on the bye next week, but I don't think it's the worst. And honestly, was a like if Sherry was yeah, if Sherry somehow misses this week through like a training incident. Maybe Charlie Comben hits him in the face for tearing off his training bib or something like that. But if Sherry somehow misses this week, then I think I probably would. I'd seriously consider pivoting to Ash, though I might go Worrell and save the boost considering how I feel about Cook. So, yeah, my voice is gone. I think that covers off pretty much everything. Yeah, I said I was going to speak about boost strategy as well. The way I see boosts, like I want to save them for as long as possible of it. When you get weeks of carnies like this, like I, I I'm not against using them. In the past couple of years, I've used one boost through the opening rounds, and they're a much stronger tool through upgrade season. So like, yeah, last year I think I did, yeah, 4, 6, 9, 10, 11. Would have preferred to like not have to boost in round 6. I don't remember exactly what happened last year, but I think I had to cover off some carnage, and like I would have preferred to use it like 8, 9, 10, 11 instead of like only 9, 10, 11. Just because like using them in like that 8 to 11 range is when you're upgrading your team. You basically cashing money out of peaked rookies and getting premiums in. So using your boost through that time can get you 1 or even 2 premiums up on the field. That being said, though, like round 3, this is probably the most important week because player prices, for the most part, most players will have a price change this week. So like missing a Jack Watkins, for instance, like if you can't get him in because you've got other issues and he does 70 this week, he goes up by 65k, and yeah, that's 65k you've lost on the competition unless you want to fade him, and like he can end up being like a 300k rookie or 350k, and like it kind of compounds. So yeah, this week very important for rookie corrections, but at the same time, like I can understand the desire to not have cash banked, especially with like Petracca and Rozee injured. But I think with best 18, I'm fine like banking 600k if you need to, or holding a Petracca or a Rozee on the bench if it doesn't suit your trade plans, because it's essentially just the same as having a extra premium on the buy this week. If I had 600k in the bank with this team, it's basically the same as like having a Ed Richards or like a Sicily or Bont or someone like that on a buy. So unless you're really scrambling for numbers this week, I'm perfectly fine with having 600k in the bank. I'm fine with the boost this week. If you use 2 boosts through the first like 4 rounds, though, I think that's when it starts to get suboptimal. But using a boost this week is fine. And yeah, vice captains. I think there's 3 players I've kind of looked at. Dacos against GWS. Bont went like 160 against them. Dacos off a week off. Could go nuts this week. Sherry traded him in. He should go pretty huge against Blackiston. And then Butters against West Coast as well should be a big score as well. So I'm not sure which of the 3 I'm going to go for, which order, but yeah, Dacos, Sherry, Butters. I think Sherry's going to be either vice or captain, and then It'll be up to Butters or Dacos for mine. And yeah, Poddish options. Not sure if there's anyone out of Geelong Adelaide I would do. And not anyone out of Collingwood, GWS apart from Nick I would do, I don't think. If you like have a Neil or something like that, he could be a decent option, although Garcia is being used as a tagger, so maybe not, maybe yes. Freo players, I mean, Jackson, yeah, if you had him, he's a very solid vice or captain. Yeah, out of the North game, Sherry is the one. Butters, obviously, and then Carlton, Melbourne. I guess go on if you had him, but yeah, I think the other options are better. So here's praying to a week without as much carnage. And yeah, I have benefited from the rozee injury, but you still hate to see it. You want to see the best players out there. Milano getting injured is devastating. Not because I have to keep him from a SuperCoach standpoint, but just because it's a good story and just love the way you went about it. So he'll be back in 2 or 3 weeks. I'm acting like the guy's died, but yeah, just hopefully a week with a bit less carnage, and yeah, hopefully we can crack 2,000 this week. So once again, if you managed to make it to the end, thanks very much for watching, and I'll catch you for the next video.